Hey there, it's Carla from MakseLife Plans, and I wanted to do a video today on my Ultimate Planner follow-up. So in August, I created what I call my Ultimate Planner. I started in the year of 2020 with the horizontal layout of the MakseLife Planner, and I love it. It really worked for quite a while. The reason I needed additional space is because I felt like I needed more accountability in order to track my goals a little bit more closely. So at the very beginning of the year, I was extremely intimidated by goal setting. And I just always assumed that goals were these big, huge things you wanted to do in life and you had to write down a 5-year plan, but I never put a lot of thought about how you get there, which seems so silly, but that's exactly what I did. And so when I started goal setting, I started very, very small. I did the very basic, the very bare minimum. But once I started to become more comfortable with goal setting, I had realized that I needed a little bit more space. I am the type of person that writes all of the things all the time. I have multiple things to write on in my bag, in my desk, on my nightstand, in the living room, like everywhere is some sort of pad and paper. And so once I started realizing that I needed a little bit more space, I tried to incorporate that into my horizontal layout, and it worked. But I just felt like at the end of the week, my horizontal layout was so full and it was just too busy for my personal preference. And I got so distracted by how busy my layout looked that I was less likely to look at my planner. And so when I've realized, because of the way the pages are laid out, when I realized that I could combine both planners and glue the weekly actions and the notes pages together and literally go from one layout to the next within just the same flip of a page, I knew I had to have it. And so I did it in August. I have a video, I'll try and link it up here, of how I actually put that planner together, and it has helped me so much. And so I was going to just do a quick flip through of how it has worked for me and how I am liking it and not liking it as well. And I know that it's a lot, but it might help some of you out there. The reason I wanted to do it is because I realized I needed to break my goals down even further. So I love the way the MakseLife focuses on the actions. So you have your yearly goals, and then you break them up into monthly, and then you break them up into weekly. But a lot of the things, in addition to the habit tracker, I wanted to have written down every day for accountability. My health, I wanted to track my steps. I wanted to track my workouts, which I have not been doing. I wanted to track some days, some weeks, I wanted to track my food, because I've noticed that a lot of my mental health and self-care and diet goes back to my mood. And if I was having a particularly bad week that week, I wanted to be able to look back and see, oh, okay, that's why I didn't really eat great, or I didn't exercise, I didn't have any time in nature. So I wanted to track my health. I wanted to track my reading habits, because I can read now because I graduated with my 2-year associate's degree, which is also a huge accomplishment that I had in 2020 because of my MakseLife. I wanted to track my reading habits. I wanted to track my self-care. 2020 is meh, hard pass. And so I had noticed that a lot of me went missing in 2020. And so I wanted to track my self-care, and I just wanted to track things a little bit more closely on a day-to-day basis. And so I was really hoping that this layout was going to work for me, since I could have both in one planner, and it has, and I love it. And I'm pretty sure I'm gonna do it again in 2021. And so I am just going to go ahead and flip the camera around. I'll go through the past couple of months in my MakseLife, and I will let you know when things worked and when things didn't work. Okay, so here is my Franken-planned version of the MakseLife. So the downside is I actually decided to do this 6 months into the year. And I really didn't want to take the first 6 months out. And so I kept my first 6 months in here, which was all my horizontal layout. And so my entire first 6 months is still in here. Hindsight, I probably should have taken it out, but I didn't really want to, because I wanted everything in one space. But because of that, She doesn't close. And so when I do my Ultimate Planner Franken Plan in 2021, I do know that I will have to have 2 separate planners. So I'll have to have a first 6 months and a second 6 months, and I'm totally okay with that. So this is August. This is the very first month that I did my kind of Ultimate Planner. So this is July. And this week I really like. There were some days where I kind of had to double things up a little bit. I was still in school at this time. And so here again, I was still in school, but you can see how a lot of my days, I just started really just kind of filling up with just so much stuff. I tracked all of my school assignments here. And then this particular week, I tracked my meals. And then again, this week was finals week. And so I didn't really focus on hardly anything other than finals. So then I switched all of my, because it was just a studying week, I switched all of my home maintenance over here and my actual schedule over here. And then I just continued basically that whole thing throughout the entire month of July. But in August, I started, sorry, I don't want to show all of my goal pages. I started with the Bob Franken Plan. So this was my week of the first week of August. And at the time I had schedule up here, and I've since changed it. I didn't really like having schedule here and then flipping to here and just having my to-dos, because I wanted to really use this to focus on goals. And I realized that I needed to move my schedule over to my personal kind of to-do area. So basically what I did is I took my monthly goals and then I broke those into weekly actions. And from those weekly actions, I made my habit tracker. From this habit tracker, I wanted to elaborate a little bit to document everything that happened throughout the days. So I wanted to do podcasts. I'd never done podcasts before. And so I wanted to write down the podcasts that I had listened to each day and then reading for a personal reason. And so I wanted to track the pages that I read and even the books that I read, and then my family fun and our dinners and menus. And then my gratitude was down here. And so this is kind of what I meant by I wanted to write everything down. And then this was just all of my other type of random type of to-do things in addition to all of my home maintenance. And then from here, you go into your notes and reflections and then your weekly actions. And then I have another vertical. This is a week that I decided to focus on self-care in addition to health and my family fun time, my reading log. And then this was my just kind of to-do type daily almost. And then you have another notes and reflections and another weekly actions. And then you have my vertical again. And again, I just wanted to kind of track things a little bit more in depth. Could you imagine all of this information written on this layout? I mean, even like, look at this day. It's just very full. And to be honest, I really like having a combination of something that's a little bit neater and prettier with just something that is just get it done, highlight it, be done with it. And so all of this information wouldn't fit in just one layout. And I have noticed that since I have decided to break things out into a daily actions, I have become more aware of my health and my steps and my active minutes and my self-care, because I see it every day and I'm like, uh-oh, I haven't done anything for me today. What are we going to do? And then my family fun and my gratitude. But really, my biggest focus has been on health. And I have been on just this roller coaster. I'm sure a lot of people in 2020 have been on the same roller coaster as me. And so I really wanted to just focus on more detail in order to complete all of those weekly and monthly actions. And so I actually utilize both habit trackers. So this habit tracker is everything related to my goals. And then this habit tracker was everything related to my personal type to-dos or things that I wanted to do that I didn't really feel was quite goal related for that particular week. And then And then this week I decided with some friends to do some weekly challenges. We did a no white space challenge. It's very pretty. I was so stressed out during placing all of these stickers. I will not be able to do this again. It is extremely challenging for me to place stickers and not have any white space. And you can see 0 goals. I had a habit tracker, but I never referred to this layout again because it just wasn't what I was needing in this season of life. But it is beautiful, and I do like that it is so pretty. And so this was my, oh no, I don't have any goals to track. We're just gonna do what we can this week type of spread. And then you go into September. Let's skip all my goal pages. And then in September is when I decided that I really needed to move my schedule because I keep my planner propped up on a planner stand on my desk in my kitchen. And I had noticed that I kept going back and forth from this layout to see my schedule to this layout to see my to-dos, that I was missing some stuff. And so after some time, I had realized that I needed kind of all of my personal and schedule in this area. And I used this just to focus again on my goals and to make sure that I had daily actions in addition to all of my other actions that the planner holds. And then this was my horizontal for that same week. And then this is a week that some friends and I decided to do a fake week challenge. And so I just did that in my vertical because deep ingrained in me is a horizontal layout. I love just the flexibility of the horizontal layout. I love functional. I love to-dos. I love my checklists. And so this was kind of where everything was for this particular week. And so that was my horizontal layout. And then this is a week that I decided to try and do an hourly, and it just didn't work for me. So I utilized again my horizontal layout. So this is when I realized that I needed all of my schedule and my to-dos in one place. My kids started doing remote learning. I have 2 kids. I have that were both doing Zooms, and you can see this is a lot to keep up with. All right, and then we'll go to this also was when I was realizing that this was just so much. I was so scared to miss some of their Zoom appointments or lessons or miss some of their homework that I decided to use my vertical spread for tracking all of their Zoom appointments and their assignments. For school, this actually worked really, really well. But I had noticed that over the past couple of weeks and this is the horizontal for that previous week, I had noticed the past couple of weeks that I tracked this, or I had that fake week, or I had the 0 white space week. I just noticed that when I wasn't tracking goals on a daily basis, I didn't do them. I didn't pay attention to my health. I didn't pay attention to my self-care. And I really, really struggled a couple of weeks for that. And so let's get into October. Okay. So this is also another week I tried to do for school. And this was kind of the last week. I was like, you know what? This isn't working for me. I love being able to have a space to track all of my kids' stuff. But for me and what I am looking for in my personal life, this isn't working for what I want to do with my goals. So then I ended up going back to tracking goals again. This, however, was an extremely particularly difficult week, and I didn't track anything because it was just an emotional mess. And then we were supposed to go camping and it got canceled. So this was like literally just a scratch week. So I lived in this view for the whole week. And then this is the week that we are currently in right now as I am filming. Today is October 18th. And so this is how I set it up this week. I wanted to track my reading. I wanted to track practicing American Sign Language, all of my stuff that I needed for health and for cleaning. And I still haven't finished filling out all of my gratitude or my habit tracker. And then this is the horizontal for me for this week. These 3 days have just pretty much been a bust, but I love the functionality of this view. I love having my schedule here. I love having all of my to-do list here. And I used to keep all of my cleaning stuff on this side in my horizontal, but once I moved it over to my goals layout to maintain my home, I had so much more space here, and everything is just, it's laid out in a way where it's more appealing to my eyes, and it's a lot less cluttered. I have important things highlighted in a more bold color, so they're easy to see. And this is much easier for me to process. And I have been more successful with having 2 layouts than I was with just having 1 layout where everything was written in here and it was just too busy. And I ended up not even looking at my planner for the rest of the day because it made me anxious just having so much stuff written down. And so once I spread everything out into 2 separate layouts, I instantly felt less anxious. I was more likely to refer to my planner, to check in multiple times a day to see where I was in my appointments with Zoom calls for my kids, what I still needed to do for the day, what I still needed to clean. And so having things spread out for me has worked so well. I am also planning on doing this with my 2021 MakseLife Planner also. Again, like I said, when I do it with my 2021, I'm going to have January through June in one planner, and then I'll have July through December in the next planner. And then I have the rest of my planner already set up with my kind of little hybrid bob. We call it bob because it's something that we decided was best of both. And so we call this our bob planner. And so I have the rest of the year set up with my bob planner. And so I still have all of the other rest of my planner. I still have all of my note pages. And then another bonus of getting 2 planners and combining them is you get double the note pages. And so you can have 13 note pages in your first 6 months, and then you can have 13 note pages in your second 6 months as well. So I hope that that was helpful for those of you that are watching, and feel free to ask any questions. Just drop them down below and I will be sure to answer those. And I hope that you have a fabulous rest of your day. Bye.